Hello, dear Leila.
Hello, Lama Caroline.
Nice to see
Hello.
you.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Much better. All right. Just needs a reboot, a refresh, right? Like we all do. Right. So I'll start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, good. All right. So today's a very, auspicious day. Lama Caroline and I wanted to launch this new program, Women of Wisdom, during Losar time. So happy New Year, everyone. And we're kicking off this new podcast and series of conversations. Today's the first of many that we'll have throughout the year, and where we're diving in to share the stories about spiritual masters from many traditions throughout the ages. And today, as we speak on Caroline, we do so really in remembrance of all the sacred lineages of all the traditions and the women pioneers who paved the way for all of us. So I first would like to pay homage to them, all those pioneers, the leaders and practitioners who walked before us. And we're giving witness to their stories, her story. So the women masters who achieved liberation, in the face of many cultural and religious challenges, over the centuries. So why does this matter? Why does this matter that we're bearing witness to these stories? First of all, 50% of our population are women, and in sacred texts, in Buddhism, in Christianity, in Judaism, you don't hear as many stories about women who've reached liberation, and enlightenment. We hear a lot about the men's stories, but we want to bear witness to those stories. And so we're going to be hearing about Laksminakara, who is the great female mahasiddha, a former incarnation of Lama Gangchen, our precious Lama Gangchen. We'll hear stories of other Tibetan masters like Ayukandro and Yeshe Sogyo, Machi Labdran, Christian mystics like Hildegard of Bingen and Saint Clare of Assisi, Amachi, the great hugging saint who is still alive, Anandamayi, and others. And so I believe this is really important for all of us here listening, all of you there in the Gompa and all of our friends all around the world listening. We have about 10 countries listening in today. And, really to hear how the other half attains liberation. And so for the women here in the Gompa and listening online, hearing these stories really validates and empowers, your experience, our experience, and our spiritual journey. And for the men here in the Gompa and listening online, it empowers you to embrace the divine feminine in yourself. And we all embody both feminine and masculine. So in order to be a whole person, we need to embrace both of these energies. So a little bit about me, those of you who don't know me, I'm obviously your host today, and I'm also the host of the podcast Life with a Lama Healer, which is a podcast about our precious Lama Gangchen. And I studied with have been studying with Lama Gangchen, Lama Caroline, Lama Michelle for over 30 years now. And I lead Lama Gangchen's NgalSo meditation group in New York and New Jersey. I'm also an interfaith minister. And professionally, I'm an executive leadership coach, so I coach business and sports leaders to make a difference in the world. And I've known Lama Caroline, like I said, for over 30 years. And on the auspicious occasion when I met Lama Gangchen, the day that changed my life forever, I met Lama Caroline as well. And so those of you who don't know Lama Caroline, I know there's several new people listening in today. Lama Caroline is from England. And she studied with and worked with Lama Gangchen for over 40 years, right, Lama Caroline?
Yeah.
Over 40 years, and she was his right arm. So she translated, transcribing. Many of the books that are in the shop by Lama Gangchen are written by Lama Caroline. And along with Lama Michelle, Lama Caroline is the successor of Lama Gangchen centers and projects throughout the world. She holds a master's degree in interfaith studies, and Lama Caroline is tireless, committed. I have so much respect for you. You travel all around the world giving us the Dharma, and you have a rigorous schedule, constantly helping people, and you're always available. And I have just so much respect for you for being a pioneer and for holding the torch for all of us, especially when Lama Gangchen left his body, and keeping our Sangha all together and bringing light to our life. So I'm so honored to be doing this new program with you. So, shall we dive into the great yoginis of the past, spiritual masters of the past?
Okay, yes, sure, Leila. Thank you for the nice introduction, yeah? So, okay, so...
I did have a question, if I could start with a question. I mean, you could, I know we want to talk about the early students of the Buddha, but I did want to ask you, though, Lama Caroline, do women and men attain liberation differently? I mean, do women practice spirituality different than men?
Well,
or
sorry, as a woman, I only know the female experience, right?
But you're a scholar and a lama.
This we talk about afterwards, okay? Yeah?
Okay.
Now we're going to start at the beginning, okay? Like Leila said, we're going to talk about enlightened women of all traditions, okay? So many beautiful people, but today we're going to start with Lord Buddha Shakyamuni and the women around him, yeah? And early Buddhism, okay? Okay, so Buddhism, what we call Buddhism in the West, the Dharma, yeah? It was founded by Siddhartha, who was an Indian prince, yeah? The guy who had everything. But like most of us, he wasn't really happy with his life, you know? So then finally he went out of his palace and he found what we call enlightenment, yeah? Okay, he found inner peace, he found wisdom within himself, yeah? Okay, then at that age he was 35, okay? For the next 45 years, he went around North India spreading the Dharma, which later became called Buddhism, which then spread around the world. So, from the earliest times, yeah, okay, the Buddha, yeah, Buddha Shakyamuni, he wanted to found a Sangha, a spiritual community with monks, nuns, laymen and laywomen. That was always his idea, that there was equality, yeah. The Buddha was a social, innovator, yeah. Like my teacher, Lama Gangchen, said he was always very much pro-democracy, okay? So he wanted like social democracy between men, women, and also with the different levels of society, yeah? But of course, he was like in the Bronze Age, yeah, 2,700 years ago. So even he had something to do, you know, to change social attitudes, yeah? So the Buddha was not a loser, okay? He was a prince, yeah? He was the guy who had everything, yeah? And many of the people who joined the early Sangha were his relatives, yeah? Both male and female, yeah? Okay? So the first disciples of the Buddha actually were, after the Buddha achieved enlightenment, were men, because in that time they had this ascetic tradition of like going out of the home life, okay? And like living as yogis on outside, you know, okay? So the Buddha was a shramana, a wanderer, so his thing was wandering around, and then he would go for lunch with people, and then they would ask him questions, yeah? And like this, actually, what we call Buddhism developed, okay? So his first followers were men, yeah? Okay, they were actually his relatives, actually. They were the princes of the Sakya royal family, yeah? But later on, the Buddha founded a woman's order, yeah, okay? It was actually the Buddha's father, he was called King Suddhodana, okay? And he had two wives, yeah? It's ancient India, yeah, okay? He had, the first wife was called Maya Devi, the Buddha's mother, yeah? And then he had a second wife who was called Mahaprajnapati, okay? So, as you probably mostly know the story, the Buddha's mother, she died after 7 days, you know. I mean, okay, like not mythologically speaking, though, you know, ancient times people used to die in childbirth, yeah, okay. So then the second wife, Mahaprajnapati, she took care of the Buddha and brought him up, yeah, before he was enlightened, yeah, okay. So, actually, the woman who instigated the founding of the woman's order of Buddhism was Buddha's mother, yeah, his adopted mother, Mahaprajnapati, yeah, okay? So it's actually a really interesting story, so I thought maybe I'd share it with you, you know? I mean, there's a lot of, like, misconceptions. People don't really know, you know. Buddhism came to the West, let's say, okay, Japanese Buddhism 100 years ago. Tibetan Buddhism, like 50 years ago. It's recent, yeah? So at first there was all this kind of, like, fantasy ideas about Buddhism, but now we've actually got the real story, fortunately, yeah, okay? So after the Buddha, this is all recorded in the Buddhist histories in the Theravada, what we call the Theravada tradition. So after the Buddha achieved enlightenment, he went back to his family palace, to visit his family, So at first, they were like, oh no, only men can go and see the Buddha, But then the Mahaprajnapati, she said to King Suddhodana, I don't think so, And she said, we women of the palace, we're going to go and see the Buddha too, So from the first time that the Buddha went back to interact with the family, with the lay people, his country, there was both the male and there was the men and women of the palace, and the society were there, So it's true, originally there weren't any women in the Buddhist order. Why? Because it was hardcore, They have this thing called going forth, So nowadays, when we go forth in Buddhism, it means, you can go and live in a Buddhist center, you can, it's not so difficult. But in those days, it really meant leaving the family life and maybe living under a tree or something, It was hard, They renounce everything, they just have a begging bowl, It's really, really giving up everything just to concentrate on meditation, So, the first members of the Buddhist Sangha, like I say, were the 500 princes of the Sakya royal family, which not many people know, So basically, most of them quit their luxury lives and decided they wanted to follow the Buddha to seek enlightenment, So then, Mahaprajnapati, who by this time was around 60, and all the wives, they said, we also want to join this, we also want to find enlightenment, So then they went to visit the Buddha and the male monks, and they said, we also wish to achieve enlightenment. So actually, what the Buddha actually said is, of course you can seek enlightenment, of course there's no problem, but living outside is a bit difficult, which actually personally I agree with him actually.
Yeah, it's quite dangerous.
And he said, please, you put the robes, you shave your head, you go and do everything the same, but you do it in your own houses, is what the Buddha actually said to the women, And of course, this is not easy, living out. I mean, I live when I'm not here in Italy and not traveling, I live in Spain, in Andalusia. So the climate's more or less like India, Same kind of temperature. So, yes, you can live outside and you don't die of hunger, but it's difficult living outside on the street, Like, I see many of these street people, There's no women, So the Buddha was just being practical, he said, and I think it's a bit tough,
Right.
So, but actually, but when they actually started to form some settled communities, and actually the first two sponsors were a merchant called Ananda Pindika, and there was one lady, very famous lady, who's called Amarapali, who was the royal courtesan of Vaishali, She was the lover of King Bimbisara, and she sponsored the first Buddhist community, Because before they were just wandering around. So at that time, when they had somewhere to go, then Ananda, the Buddha's cousin, asked the Buddha, now can the women join? And the Buddha said yes, when there was a structure, So this thing about sexism, it's not true, actually. The Buddha is just a practical person. He said, I don't think, living in a forest is okay for, for women, which actually I agree, I wouldn't want to live in a forest myself.
Yeah, right. It's quite dangerous, right?
Yeah. So
for women.
Anyway, from that point, so gradually from that point, what the Buddha wanted, a sangha of monks, of nuns, and lay people, lay men and lay women, it developed in ancient India. And there's there's a beautiful book called the Therigatha. So this means the songs of the Theris, the nuns, it's beautiful, And they actually recorded their experience, Beautiful, So if anybody's interested, I recommend that. You can buy these translations now. So interesting, And they're talking about the female experience in that time, So absolutely, I mean, if I was born 2,700 years ago, absolutely I would want to join the Sangha, because otherwise, what would your life be like, You have 7 kids, 16 kids, no washing machine, no internet, no Amazon, no gas. It would be, maybe some people like this trad wife stuff, but not me, thank you. I wouldn't want 10 kids and I had one Spanish friend, good friend of mine, called Itzia, yeah? She had 6 children, yeah, okay, Spanish friend. And she was living this kind of like hippie life, yeah, simple. And she said the best moment of her life was when she got a washing machine, yeah?
Right.
So, I mean, like
There were 6 kids, right?
That's only 6, yeah?
Yeah.
We used to have more than that, yeah? Many of the
Frees
sons
up
of the
a lot of her time.
in the nun songs, they say things like, I had 10 kids, you know? But now I found the Dharma, thank you very much, you know? Now I'm seeking liberation, you know?
Yes.
They say, it's very funny, their songs, actually, but it's true, you know? It's about how, you know, woman's experience was in that time and how much better it was for them to have... I mean, okay, these were educated women. They had education. They had, you know, they could read, they could write, but still, it was much better to practice the Dharma, you know, than have that whole, you know, context of just being a wife and, you know, a woman, you know, in ancient times, yeah? So... Absolutely. Yeah. If I'd been in that time, I would have run to join the Buddha too, you know.
But that's also, you know, very much a personal choice that one makes, and then kind of a state of one's spiritual evolution that you don't want to. You know, if you have 10 children, you have no time to practice the Dharma. And as women, if you have 10 children, you really have no time for yourself at all.
Well, no.
You know, and you're taking care of your husband in your house and cooking and cleaning and, you know, all the things that go into family life. We're not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just a personal choice. If one wants liberation and to really spiritually evolve, one needs to not be tied down by all these commitments, right?
I'll share with you one of the songs of the nuns, yeah, the Theres of the time of the Buddha, yeah? Yeah? So this is one called Mutta. Mutta means free, yeah? The free nun, yes? So she says, my name means freedom, yeah? She said, what am I free from? She said, so I'm free from 3 crooked things, yeah? Okay, from the mortar and the pestle, that means the things for cooking, no? Yeah? And also my husband who has his own crooked thing, yeah? It says, I'm freed from birth and death, yeah?
I'm free from, what was the last one?
It said, I'm free of birth and death, yeah?
Birth and death.
What causes rebirth I have rooted out. That's why I'm Mutta the free, you know? They're beautiful, the songs of these ladies, you know? Also, they're kind of funny, you know, as well, you know? Yeah? There's all different kinds of ladies who join the Sangha. Also, not all the Buddha's female disciples were nuns, yeah? There were also like lay women who achieved what we call arhatship, yeah? In the time of the Buddha, in the Theravada tradition, the idea is to reach nirvana, which means inner peace, yeah? Okay? It means whatever happens, your mind's okay, you know? Okay? So there were also, for example, there were many lay women who just turn up and also they got the realization and they stay as lay women with their families, you know? It wasn't obligatory to become a nun, yeah? Or a monk, yeah? The Dharma is for everybody, even from the beginning, from the time of the Buddha, okay?
So that's showing that one can reach liberation even as a householder, right? Or as a wife or mother, right?
Yes, and in fact, in the early accounts of Buddhism, there's many accounts of lay women who achieve enlightenment, yeah, okay? Nirvana, sorry, yeah? And continue, yeah? For example, yeah? This, let me find you some examples, yeah? There's like one royal lady, I need to find her name, yeah, okay? She'd go there, like in front of the Buddha with all her, you know, royal clothes and finery, and the Buddha, you know, explained something, and she immediately got the point, you know, yeah, yeah. And she stayed as she achieved nirvana, but she stayed as a laywoman helping the society, you know, yeah. There's many interesting, and the thing is, people don't know these ladies' stories, you know. Unfortunately, but okay, now it's getting better. There's much, in the last 10, 20 years, there's been a lot of like, you know, translations, a lot of like very nice academic research, you know, bringing back to life the story of all these amazing women.
Stories.
You know?
Yeah. So, Lama Caroline, what's the difference, for our audience, what's the difference between nirvana and enlightenment? Because I noticed you distinguished those two.
Okay, so in Buddhism, we have different, Buddhism is a world religious tradition, okay, and there's different approaches, yeah? So what we call the Theravada, the way of the elders, like now is in like Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma, these kind of, you know? It means, so what the goal is to achieve nirvana, that means inner peace, yeah? So how you become an arhat, the one who overcame their delusions, is by, like the Buddha, you have to face your own emotions, okay? You have to uproot, as the nuns are saying, your desire, your ignorance, your hatred, yeah? And you have to get to a state where those troubling emotions don't arise anymore in your mind, yeah? Okay? So nirvana, it literally means, yeah, to blow out the suffering, yeah? It's not to blow out your consciousness, but it means whatever happens, it's okay, you know, okay? Because many of the people who achieve nirvana, things still happen to them, of course, you know, they're human beings, yeah? But their emotional reaction is totally peaceful, yeah? That's what nirvana means, okay? In light what we call, okay, but then we have the Mahayana point of view and the Vajrayana point of view. There's many traditions of Buddhism. So we, in the Vajrayana tradition, which is mainly like in Tibet, Nepal, China, yeah, okay, we believe in what we call great nirvana, enlightenment. So that means we have to do we have to purify many more parts of our mind to become a Buddha, an awakened one. We have to one with a completely open and expansive mind. We need to purify many more deeply the mind, basically. Okay, we believe the Vajrayana Buddhists, we believe that nirvana is wonderful, but still there's some way to go. You know, okay. But anyway, nirvana would be also great. Thank you.
Yeah, right. That would be really good.
Yeah.
So liberation then is another term for nirvana. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
this nun, she's called Mutta or Tapa. She's free. She's liberated. Yeah, liberated from her delusions. Yeah. Like no. So, by the way, when we talk about renunciation in Buddhism, my teacher Lama Gangchen always explained like this: what we renounce is not your things. You know, this is not important. We need to renounce anger, violence, jealousy, ignorance. These things we need to renounce. Yeah. Okay. And whether it's not. Giving up your house or your car is going to make any difference, actually. It's what goes on in your mind is important, you know?
Giving up all those negative emotions.
Yeah.
Transforming them. Yeah. Beautiful. So were there any other stories of the nuns singing, and any other one that comes to mind?
Well, there's tons of them, honestly. Anybody you're interested, we'll post some links for some nice book translations of the Therigatha. And my teacher, Lama Gangchen, he made me study world religions and comparative Buddhism, okay? All these things are beautiful. That's also why we can do this podcast, yeah? These are beautiful, really inspiring stories and songs that are not so much known, you know, and they should be more, that's beautiful, you know. Maybe somebody can read them all, sing them on the internet or something, yeah? You know, these are women of wisdom, you know.
Yeah, we'll take some of these and put them on our YouTube channel and make them available to everyone. I think this is really, really important. I would love to hear these as well.
Let me tell you one or two more of these songs. They're beautiful,
Please.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, this is so this is from one lady who achieved nirvana called Mahaprajnapati Gautami, okay? I'll say part of the song, not all, yeah? So she said, you know, I've already been a mother, I've been a son, I've been a father, I've been a brother, I've been a grandmother, yeah? But not knowing things as they really are, I was reborn and I was reborn. And I was never satisfied, I never had enough, you know? But as soon as I saw the Bhagavan, the Buddha, I knew that this now is my last body, you know? Yeah? And that the realm of rebirth is finished and now there's no rebirth for me, you know? Okay? Yeah? So she's another very, very famous disciple of the Buddha, you know? And what she's saying is, by the way, you know, we're both man and women across. It's a bit funny to think about, isn't it?
Right.
But we're not always the same sex, yeah? Yeah? I mean, now we're doing this thing of women of wisdom, but for sure, you and me, we were also men in the past lives and women, you know? Like she says, we've been everything, you know?
Right.
You know? So, you know, Buddhism has a more, I don't know, open idea about things, you know, than the Western paradigm, I would say, you know?
Actually, if you consider just that song, or consider that we've been, you know, both genders in multiple lifetimes, it completely expands your worldview. I mean, it's like completely expands it, right? But what did she mean at the end there, that she no longer is subject to rebirth?
What she means is that in Buddhism, we believe that because we don't understand how things exist, we don't understand interconnectedness. So it's very much like science, actually. Because we don't understand the nature of reality, then anything that we find attractive, which is basically like half of the experiences, we develop attachment towards. I want it, Like, for example, this is delicious. I want it, And anything that is uncomfortable, it's like, I don't want it. We develop like rejection, So our mind becomes like this seesaw, all the time our experience is like this, like very unstable, So what we need to do gradually is we need to develop we need to understand how things exist and how things function, okay? And this is what the early nuns were doing when they were meditating, So then we understand how we're seeing reality, and we stop doing this, we find peace, okay? So then we become free, And in Buddhism we do believe in rebirth. Okay, maybe in the West it's not so easily for people to accept. But let's say from day to day, every day we go to sleep and we wake up like a new life again and again, So we carry our emotions like from day to day, from month to year, So what we need to do is stop the habit patterns that are always making us like go in the wrong direction, And what we need to do is create positive habits, so the mind always goes in the positive direction, yeah. So when we understand how the mind works, we can go in the positive direction, as my teacher said, only up,
Go up, right?
Only positive,
Yeah. So her rebirth would be in a positive direction.
So
whatever her rebirth
I know
was.
a lot of people in the modern society that don't believe in actual rebirth, but it doesn't matter. Day to day, we are reborn. So anyway, day to day, we need to take care of our minds. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same actually.
So when one achieves this state, then you no longer are thrown by your desires. I want this, or aversion. I hate this. I don't like this. Your mind is more stable, right? You're not thrown in these directions.
Exactly. And actually, the early nuns they were absolutely equal to the male disciples of the Buddha. They had the same realizations and all that. Why they're not so remembered is because of it's history. Like around the Buddha was in like the 6th century before Christ, Around the 1st century before Christ's time, like 2,100 years ago, there was some war in India, And they were very worried that Buddhism would die out, okay? So then, this is the time when they start to record all these things, And through the course of history, they gave more, there was a female order and a male order, But then, over the course of history, there were various wars, various invasions, And the female order was didn't have the resources to re-establish itself in the way that the male did, for whatever reason, That's how it was, no? So then, the male monastic tradition continued in a much stronger way than the female one, So, like you can see, I don't know if you can see here, like in our temple, you can see there's the Buddha, and there's Maudgalyana and Shariputra, his 2 main male disciples. So there's also the 2 main female disciples, which maybe we should stick them on the wall of our temple, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Give them an equal place.
But, monasticism means, it's single sex, The point of a monastery is to avoid like distraction. That was always the idea of monasticism in Christian or Buddhist or any tradition, So in a male monastery, they tried to avoid like contact with women because women are just too beautiful, right? Too interesting, And vice versa, the nuns try to avoid contact with the men. So that's why they don't give so much importance to the female disciples, because they're just too beautiful and too interesting,
Too distracting.
This is true nowadays it's not like that, Actually, there's, by the way, I'm not a nun, by the way, everybody. I'm a lay teacher, Look, see, I'm married, Okay, in Buddhism, we can have all kinds of possibility also for teachers, You can be a monk, you can be a nun, you can be a lay person, a layman, a lay woman. Everything is possible. Point is, if you know the Dharma, if you can do something useful, okay? So actually, nowadays, there's some moves to re-establish the woman's order, okay? yeah, the full ordination. You know, I've got some really good friends of mine who are nuns, yeah, and some of them, they're going to like Taiwan to, you know, and taking this. Taiwan is the place where the lineage of female ordination continued since the time of the Buddha, yeah. So many nuns in the Tibetan tradition, for example, are going there and retaking the full nuns' vows, yeah, and re-establishing the tradition, yeah. You know, things are changing, right? You know.
Yeah.
I mean, also, you don't have to be a nun, you know. There's many lay women and laymen in Buddhism, you know.
Yes. That's what I so appreciated about, you know, our teacher, Lama Gangchen, is that whatever your life is, you just integrate the Dharma into your life. Is more about our mind, the state of our mind, than what our lifestyle was. You know, obviously there are things that lifestyle, you know, that are harmful that you want to avoid, but that we can, you know, study the Dharma, practice, you know, do fully. You know, like my life, I have a lay life, you know, I have a husband, a house, a career, but my mind is totally 100% in Dharma, you know, and so Lama Gangchen was so, you know, progressive in this way and really helped us to integrate it into our daily life. Yeah.
Well, it was progressive, but in ancient India it was like that anyway, you know. I mean, today we're not going to talk about the Indian Mahayana period. Today we're focusing on the early period, okay? But throughout when Buddhism was strong in India, there was this whole tradition of like lay people, you know, practicing the Dharma, and there's many interesting female women teachers, you know, in Buddhism. Yeah, but maybe we do many times this podcast.
Yeah, throughout
the year.
There's
a lot to talk about, you know. You know, but even in the time of the Buddha, there was like, you know, the first one, you know, Amrapali, you know, she was the royal courtesan. She was the lover of King Bimbisara, yeah, okay, who was like one of Buddha's sponsors, yeah, and she was one of the first big sponsors of Buddhism, yeah, okay, and there was many other lay women who were supporting the Dharma even at that time, you know, and getting realization. So it's always been like that, you know. I mean, people they've got a kind of distorted view of like the history because they don't know, you know, it's new in the West, yeah.
But there are some writings. I don't know if they're actual scriptures because I'm not a scholar, but there are writings that have been written by men that talk about the disgusting nature of the female and that females should be avoided. And so we do need to address that part. Yes,
Okay, so this again goes back to monasticism, yeah, because you know, if they're in monasteries, they're like young people, yeah. So absolutely, what they have to do is put them off the other sex, yeah. So they do have these Indian texts saying that women are horrible and all, but the nuns also have texts saying that men are horrible, yeah. The point is not, look, if you have to understand, this is for a particular social context called a monastery, yeah? Monastery means mono, it means you have to live by yourself in a community and not have a relationship, okay? So they have to absolutely discourage them, yeah, from having relationships, yeah, in order to be monks and nuns, yeah?
Yeah.
So in that context, but in other contexts in Buddhism, we say that, you know, your body is a divine temple and everything is marvelous and, you know, women are the nature of dakinis. It depends, you know, okay? You have to understand the context in which these things are written, yeah?
Yeah.
Not just like, oh no, it's terrible. No, but you have to understand like why they were saying that, you know, okay?
Yes.
And to who,
yes.
Yeah? I mean, they weren't saying it to me, for example, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're someone who is practicing celibacy as a monk or a nun would be, then you want to, you know, suppress the attraction to the opposite sex, right?
Yeah.
So this is what.
Also, by the way, they're not allowed to have same-sex. They're not no relationships. Also, not allowed to have same-sex. No relationships. Okay.
Yeah. So that's quite a mind training. Yeah. So I could see where those writings would come from in that context.
You know, however, Buddhism it's a different tradition from the, you know, Semitic traditions like Judaism, Islam and Christianity, yeah? For us, like, we see relationships in a different way, you know, because we want to get enlightened, okay? Yeah, we want to achieve nirvana. And like, honestly, lay people, our basic idea is ahimsa, non-violence, you know? you know. Be peaceful, don't harm the others, you know. And if you want to be with this one, that one, whatever, please, it doesn't matter, you know. Be happy as much as you can, yeah, while you're in samsara, yeah. We don't have this idea of like marriage and all that as a sacrament. It's a different spiritual tradition, yeah, yeah, yeah. So Buddhism is a very fascinating tradition, you know. Yeah?
Yes.
And it's just coming to the West, and it's, you know, welcome, you know. It's super fascinating, you know.
Yes, super fascinating and useful. It's totally changed my life, completely transformed my life. Yeah. So Lama, what does it mean to you to be a woman Lama in the Buddhist tradition?
Well, I just wanted to practice the Dharma, you know. I mean, I wasn't on a feminist mission or anything like that, you know. I just met an amazing my teacher, Lama Gangchen, and he was very, very open, supportive, you know, not just for me, for everybody, yeah. And now I just really, really, really wanted to practice the Dharma, and I just very determinedly continued, like, working with him, studying. It wasn't a case of, like, I'm not doing this for women's rights. I just want everybody to be happy, you know. You know, I'm not the only female Lama, by the way, in the world. There's other ones, you know.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's like, you know, okay, we are in a minority, okay, but nowadays there's coming more and more female teachers of meditation, yoga, and so on, yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I want everybody to be happy, you know. Yeah. I mean, like I say, I'm not on a feminist campaign. I'm in a campaign for all men, all women, you know, and all animals as well, yeah.
Well, and for you personally, that there's this desire and commitment for liberation, right? I mean, that's what was interesting about reading some of these women from the early days. It wasn't a political or you know, feminist kind of thing that they were asking. They wanted liberation. They wanted to be free. They wanted inner peace. You know, that was the quest to, and then the commitment that they had to overcome all the challenges that they had to overcome. Like I'm sure you've had to overcome. I mean, there's Tibetan Buddhism still, you know, is very patriarchal, and you know, you are really showing the way for me and for many of us women, you know, that women can take a leadership role and can make a difference in the same way as men.
Well, everybody has Buddha nature, yeah, okay? Everybody in the whole world, we have this pure nature of the mind, yeah, okay? Everybody has the potential to have a completely pure and expansive mind, yeah, okay? Yeah, or as Buddha Tara said, in the ultimate level, there's no man or woman, yeah? But anyway, you know, everybody can achieve enlightenment if they want to, you know, okay? Of course, you need the condition, yeah, okay? You know?
Yes. Yeah. So, by the way, some of my best friends are men. I'd just like to clarify, some of my best friends are men, yeah? Yeah, me too. Me too. And who knows? Last lifetime we were a man, and they were our best friend female.
Possibly, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. It's it's really, you know, I want to highlight this to everyone listening in, that I mean, the word feminist, you know, if you're someone who believes that a woman has the right to own her own car, have her own money, have a career, own her own house, practice the Dharma, then you're a feminist. So the word isn't a dirty word, but it's this whole quest to be able to practice the Dharma freely and openly and without restrictions. That's what we all want, right? We both men and women, we want that. And here we're really giving a voice to the feminine so there's more seat at the table, right? And bearing witness to all these great women who walk before us.
My teacher, Lama Gangchen, okay, used to say he was a feminist, and I was saying, good, you know. No, but he was really, really, really supportive of like women practitioners, you know. Not him, many other spiritual leaders are too, you know, okay? Has to be. If you go in any church, any Dharma center, any yoga center, there's usually like 60-70% women, no?
Yeah. Yeah, now it's much more of a seat at the table and the voice, you know, of the feminine. But also, Lama Caroline, when we were preparing for this, we talked about the environment and how the environment is, you know, the degradation of our environment. and this patriarchy, of destroying our environment, but for the sake of, whatever progress, and that the feminine, the environment is the feminine energy. Can you say a little bit about that, please?
Okay, so in modern society, yeah, we have this concept of Mother Earth, which is good that when we're part of it, we need to take care of Mother Earth, yeah. So, in the Indian, Tibetan, Buddhist tradition, you can see behind me, no? Okay, above me is Mother Fire, okay, the female one, yeah? There's a male Buddha, Amitabha, and there's a female Buddha, Mother Fire. So we believe we have 5 mothers, yeah? Okay, shh. Sorry, shh. Annabelle, shh. No, sorry. Okay. We believe we have Mother Earth, Mother Water, Mother Wind, Mother Fire, Mother Space, yeah? So we believe, well, not we believe, it's a fact, we're part of this universe, yeah? We need the 5 elements to be pure and healthy, yeah, in order for us to survive as a society, and also, on a personal level, okay? Whatever we want to do in life, whether we want to, we want to be like a business person, successful, whether we want to be a meditator, whatever, we need 5 pure and healthy 5 elements, yeah? So in the Vajrayana tradition, which comes from Indian Buddhism, yeah, which is what we in Tibetan Buddhism follow, yeah, okay? We emphasize, you can see here, I don't know if you can see here, we've actually 5 male Buddhas and 5 female Buddhas, yeah? We believe this is enlightenment, yeah? So we need to purify our 5 inner elements and heal our 5 principal delusions. And if we can do that, we achieve enlightenment, yeah? So for us, it's like fundamental to take care of, on so many levels, yeah, okay? To take care of the environment. And we do Hindu, actually Buddhist and Hindu people actually, they feel that the elements are female, yeah? Because why? Because they give life, yeah? They are the essence of life, like the mother can give birth, yeah? Okay? So yes, it's absolutely fundamental, this idea of the feminine energy, yeah? And healing the environment, yeah? Okay? So it's very interesting actually, Now fortunately, now we have some kind of environmental movement, yeah? So I think this is one of the contributions that Tibetan Buddhism can make actually to this movement, yeah? Okay? This feeling of the elements being sacred, yeah? Because, how can we destroy the planet, yes? Why? Because we don't feel anything,
Yeah.
If we felt that this is life, this is sacred, yeah? We couldn't poison it, yeah? But we don't feel anything, yeah? So I think recovering this feeling is like a great spiritual progress, and also if we can, all ancient traditions, they all felt that the elements and the environment was sacred, yeah? Okay, we lost this feeling and we're destroying the planet, yeah? So I think this is something very important, yeah?
Yeah, all traditional societies very much in touch with that. Yeah. Well, when I first met Lama Gangchen, I was living in New York City, which is, very, very busy city. And when he was talking about the elements and the environment, I couldn't feel it. I couldn't connect with it. It was very difficult for me in the beginning to connect with that. And because I grew up, we never talked about that, the elements. You talk about Mother Earth, but there was not this respect for the elements, respect for water and, the fire. And then slowly, as I started practicing the making peace with the environment practice and the self-healing practice, I started to feel, like you were saying, this feeling of the elements, and when the water would come out of the sink, I would feel the water and give gratitude to the water or, the sun or, and just feeling these elements. So I think these practices are so powerful in helping us to get more intimate with what is carrying us, the house that we live in, all the environment, and feeling it and giving gratitude to this, and also integrating it into our life, right?
Yeah, I also had the same experience, that time when you were in New York, we were in Milano, yeah? Very polluted, and I also had the same thing. First I couldn't feel, then it's like, wow, amazing, yeah?
Yeah. One time about a year ago, I was doing the Making Peace of the Environment practice in my living room, and then all these birds ascended on my porch, and they were singing so loud, so much that I had to open the door, and wow, it's really powerful. In the past, I probably never would have heard that or been able to connect to that. There's many examples, but so how do we Actually, do you think then that the migration of Tibetan Buddhism to the West has been a catalyst for waking up the consciousness about taking care of our planet and the environment?
I think it's not just Tibetan Buddhism, you know. I think there's a whole, what my teacher Lama Gangchen used to say, that this whole, like, used to call it like the Shambhala movement, rise, you know. You know this idea of Shambhala in Tibetan Buddhism. We have this idea of a future pure society called Shambhala, okay? And we believe that in the age of Aquarius, which, by the way, we think is in 400 years, not now. Anyway, when the age of Aquarius finally comes, we'll have this new society where the environment will come back in harmony, where there'll be many different philosophies and many religious traditions, but people will accept each other, like, democratically and live in harmony, yeah? So this is very nice, no? This is the Shambhala concept, yeah? So my teacher, Lama Gangchen, he always used to say, of course, it's not just us little Tibetan Buddhist groups, yeah? He said everything, like, you know, this whole wave of, like, yoga, meditation, acupuncture, I don't know, Reiki, all these kind of new things coming into the West, or environmentalism, all this is part of the Shambhala movement, yeah? So it's not, we're just one little part of this, yeah? Fortunately, there's all kinds of, like, very, you know, throughout the spiritual traditions, there's people who want to take care of the environment, who want the world to be a better place, who want interreligious dialogue, you know? So, okay, now in the world there's very many, like, forces of darkness, yeah? But also we have to always focus on the positive, the rising Shambhala energy, yeah? Okay? So yes, we are part of it, but fortunately it's not just us.
Yeah, yes.
There's many other wonderful people too, and we're all part of the Shambhala concept, yeah?
Yeah, this raise of consciousness that's happening. Yes. So how could someone in their daily life, you know, for all of our listeners in the Gompa and around the world, how could we start to become part of this solution with raising of this feminine energy and help taking care of the environment?
Okay, first thing is ahimsa, non-violence, yeah, okay? Yeah? So this is a very deep idea, like, try not to harm yourself and the others, yeah? And don't damage the environment. So already there is, like, full-time job, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, honestly,
can you give specifics about how one can do that, how can practice ahimsa?
Well, okay, look, so, okay, non-violence to yourself and the others, yeah, okay? Control your own mind, yeah? Do as much as you can to benefit others. This is the teaching of the Buddha, yeah, okay? You don't have to be a Buddhist to do that, by the way. It's like psychology, yeah? Yeah? I mean, Buddhism is not a religion in the sort of sense of many other religions, yeah? We could say it's like human potential, right, okay? So what we need to do is simple things, okay? It's not complicated, yeah? You know, like my teacher used to say, every day, one less negative thing, every day one more positive thing. So I used to say, every cigarette less is self-healing, yeah? Every cup of coffee less is self-healing. And also I used to not like fizzy water, so I used to say, every glass of fizzy water less is self-healing, yeah? All the things. Yeah? And many other things, yeah? So slowly, what we need to do, I mean, we're all intelligent people, yeah? Slowly, we need to change our habits for the positive, yeah? Okay?
So when you say first is control your mind, meaning less anger, less stress, less anxiety, less fear, right? Less speech that harms yourself and other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, you can be any religion, whatever, doesn't matter. But anyway, to be happy is what we need to do, you know? You know?
And then the part about helping others, can you say a little bit about that?
Well, you know, there's so many people in need. It's just endless. We call it the Sea of Samsara. Just look around you, your friends, your family, your colleagues in the supermarket, the old lady who's struggling with the shopping, you know. It's endless, or somebody needs to talk, you know. Even in your community, there's endless amounts of people who need help, yeah? So just spend some, you know, my teacher always used to say, every day you need to first smile. It'd be nice when you see people. Then just ask them, how are you, you know? Do you need help, yeah? It's not like rocket science, yeah? Just start to be a nicer person, you know? And, you know, okay, in Buddhism we say the more we put the other first, the happier we will be, yeah? This is a positive side effect of being a nice person, yeah? Okay? So this is a win-win. It's a win-win situation, yeah? You help the others, they're happy, and anyway, you feel better, you know? So this is absolutely a win-win situation. It's free, why not, you know? Everyone doesn't, you know? Why not do it, you know? Better than being miserable and selfish, no?
Yes, right. I have you in my ear, Lama Caroline, because you always say, just kindness, just be kind. That just practice be kindness is a huge realization. Yes, I have you in my ear all the time. Yes. What I find really so beautiful also about Buddhism is that it's, even if we are not able to help someone, like let's say someone has cancer or someone who, you know, is in the hospital and you don't have the skill to be, you know, you're not a doctor or a nurse, you don't have the skill to help them in a physical way, but just the motivation to want to help someone. You know, this is so powerful for me when I learned this, to just even have the motivation that I want to help this person, or that my thoughts are to help you to be happy, or help you to have less suffering in your life.
No, definitely, but like I say, there's so much we can do for people, you know? There's so many people need care, no, and they haven't got it, yeah? So even if it's just a small thing, you know, there's endless amounts of old and sick people who need help, yeah?
Yes.
You know? So, you know, like, do an hour a week or something, 2 hours a week, something, you know? You know, we have to have a quality, we need to have a good quality of life, and that means we should do something for the others. We should make the world a better place, yeah? Minimum, we should leave the world the same as when we entered it. If not, we should try and make the world better, yeah? Then when we come to, you know, like people on the deathbed, they don't say, oh, I really wish I'd spent more time working, yeah? Well, they all talk about like human relationships and kindness and helping the others. Yeah. You know? That's what living a good life means, you know, okay? You know?
Yeah, so we can help the environment and the rising up of the feminine with the environment by, one, controlling our mind, and by, two, helping others. Practicing ahimsa.
I mean, look, now we really have a very serious environmental crisis, yeah, okay? So, whatever we can do to, I mean, okay, yes, of course, we need to, you know, change the way we consume energy and recycling and all that, but it's not enough, yeah, okay? So we need like a shift in consciousness about how we see the world, we see society, then that we can, okay. So I think the spiritual traditions have this to offer, yeah, okay? And like I say, in Hinduism and Buddhism, we see the elements and the environment as female, okay? So, anyway, whatever way, you know, we must do it, you know? Yeah? Because I think also a lot of environmentalists, they're very depressed, no? Okay? So I think to give some hope to people, you know? Yeah? You know, to give them hope. Yeah? So I think also to give, we all have, it's never too late, you know? We believe in karma, that means cause and effect, like science, yeah? So, okay, the environment's in a very bad shape, but if we do the right thing, it will heal, you know? It's not too late, but we must do it, you know, okay? So always we need to give hope, you know?
Well, what I think is really, really powerful about what you're saying is that oftentimes when we talk about taking care of the environment, or, you know, even our home environment or our community environment, the world environment, you know, when we talk about that, we don't, oftentimes the dialogue is not how our mind contributes. Our mental state, our level of consciousness contributes to the degradation of the environment. So this is so powerful to help us all. It's kind of like taking a personal responsibility that my anger, my stress, my anxiety, you know, or my harming other people, you know, disregarding their value, that contributes to the degradation of the environment. This is so powerful to consider this. Well, don't you think?
I think usually, yeah, in a normal life, we're not really aware that we're projecting our shadow on the others, you know, okay? So in the Dharma, what we need to do, it's not easy, but we need to own our own shadow, yeah, okay? I am responsible for my own experience, which actually is good, which means I can change it. We have to stop blaming everybody else, yeah? Yeah? So yes, we need to stop, projecting like anger, hatred, jealousy on the other people. This is a very important point in Buddhism, yeah? We work on our own mind in order to be a better person who can contribute to society. Of course, whatever we can do to help the others, we should do, whatever professional skill we have, we should use, yeah? But we need to fix our own attitude, our own mind, yeah? Then we actually have something to share of value, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And going back to what we were talking about, nirvana, attaining this state of, equilibrium where our mind is always stable and in this peaceful state, these early women were practicing what you are describing right now in order to attain that state, correct?
Well, yeah, but of course, in the early times of the Buddha, many, many women, they achieved nirvana, yeah, and then continue throughout the history. There's many fascinating, we say, Buddhist saints, or not saints, but you know what I mean, female Buddhist masters, women, they had many, many different situations. Maybe they were, I don't know, a princess, a housewife, a courtesan, a woman with 10 kids, many, many different possibilities, right? And it's interesting to hear how they transform their own experience, And I hope, during this series of podcasts, we can look at some of these ladies' stories,
Yeah, especially the mahasiddhas. Yeah, they have incredible stories.
Them and many, many others, Yeah, the mahasiddhas is from the 8th, 9th, 10th century of the Christian era in India, yeah, in the late Mahayana period, when they had this like tantric movement within lay people, within society, yeah. So yeah, there was many women who achieved enlightenment, of course, Yeah, but that's one thing. Also, there's the early women, There's the women in China. There's all kinds of women all over the world who achieved spiritual breakthroughs and enlightenment. Also, the Sufi mystics, the Christians, the Hindus, it's amazing,
Yes, yeah. We're giving voice to them. And I think this principle of ahimsa, nonviolence, non-harming, I studied to be an interfaith minister, and I know you have your master's degree in interfaith studies, that at the fundamental level of all religions from my studies is ahimsa, non-harming.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a Buddhist concept.
No, absolutely not, yeah.
Yeah.
My teacher, Lama Gangchen, one of the things he made me do was study comparative religion, okay? And at first I was like, no, I don't want to do it, But actually it was really interesting, yeah? And it's really, really valuable, because you see, it's each spiritual tradition, okay, they have many things in common, like empathy, kindness, non-violence, and then they have each one the particular idea about different subjects, yeah, okay, and different ways to achieve union with God, enlightenment, moksha, liberation, whatever is their goal. It's very interesting, actually. Yeah? And also then when you talk to people, you need to understand their assumptions, cultural assumptions of what they're asking you, So yes, it's very important to respect all spiritual traditions, yeah? Yeah?
Yeah. Respect and to also to see there's more similarities at the fundamental level than there are differences, and
well, obviously there are different spiritual traditions for a reason, yeah. But anyway, we need to respect everybody, and also try and, like in the Shambhala idea, all live together in peace, yeah.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't 400 years though, and we have to wait.
Well. This is from the Vedic calendar, okay? Yeah, Vedic astrology. Some Indian astrologers actually say that the Buddhists made the wrong calculation and it's starting now. So we will see who is right, yeah? We hope it's now, yeah? If not...
Look around to see what's happening, okay? Shambhala, here we come. So Lama, what brings you, the personal question, what brings you the most joy in serving as a Lama?
I haven't ever really thought about it, just that, helping the other people, but every Buddhist should feel like this, It's just nice. Obviously, like most of the people that we meet, they come because they want to be here, okay? We don't force them, yeah? And it's really nice to see people growing, evolving, overcoming their personal difficulties, finding their inner light, Because, Dharma teachers, what we want is the other person becomes better, that they become empowered, they become stronger, more capable, and then they can help the others. So when you see that, it's nice, you see your friends slowly improving, it's good,
Yeah, right. Wow. You must feel so proud to be part of that. That's incredible.
Well,
and there's so many people
not just
you
me,
see all over
by the
world.
way, like when we do these streamings, looks like there's, I don't know, like Lama, Michelle, me, but a few people, but behind is a lot of people, we're a big group, and we all work together, So it's not just one or two people, it's many of us all working together for this,
Yes, yes. Yes, and actually I take the opportunity to thank everyone, like Carmi and all the people behind the scenes who are bringing this together today. Yeah, they have such a strong motivation and hard work to make the Dharma available to everyone. Yeah, big thanks to them. Yeah. So,
Leila, you said some people are listening here. Does any of your friends listening got any questions? I mean, if they maybe they could type us. I don't know. Usually on these kind of video conferences, people can type some question or something.
I don't think no one's connected to the Google. They're connected to streaming. So I don't know. Maybe Carmi, if people want to ask a question and you can access the comments.
No.
I don't have it here.
I don't know. Carmi's just coming. Yeah, she says yes. Thumbs up. Yes.
Okay. Yes, someone who's listening in on our streaming.
Or
if you like to
here are people in the Gompa if they want to ask any questions about this.
Yeah, open it up there.
Yeah. Yes. So Roberta says, please, more stories about female teachers, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, to be continued. Yeah.
Okay, for example, Ksema, Upalavana, yeah? You never heard their names, yeah? These are the two top female disciples of the Buddha, yeah? Okay? We always have this thing in Buddhism of remembering our spiritual ancestors. We need to start to remember the female ones as well, it's super important, So we have Shariputra Maudgalyana, the most wise one, but there was this one called Ksema, yeah? She was the most wise of the female disciples equal to Shariputra, okay? And she was the one that she was an aristocrat of the Sakya royal family, and she said, I'm going to go and see the Buddha, yeah? So she was like, all jewels and things. And she just turned up and she started to listen to the Buddha, and she immediately got the realization, yeah? And she became like the top female philosopher, yeah? Okay? Yeah? Equal to any of the male teachers, yeah? These women, we need to remember them, That's by the way, like on this advertising for this podcast, we have a picture that actually we make here in Albagnano, and here we have what we call the Temple of the Heaven on Earth. There's many, many beautiful images. So we make one tanka, one image of there's many, hundreds and hundreds of female teachers. So we make this picture of some famous female teachers, yeah? Because why? Because we need to remember them too, Yeah? It's not just it's raining men, No, it's true. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of female enlightened women, yeah? But because, this is from our murals actually were copies of a Tibetan monastery, yeah? Okay, so, like I say, they prefer male role models for men, okay? But it doesn't mean there's not a lot of female teachers, because there are, yeah? So, yes, let's address the balance a bit, Yeah.
So on that image that you created, Lama Caroline, can you just say the names of some of those women?
How much time have you got?
What's that?
How much time do you have, yeah?
Just give us a couple, and then we'll go into stories about them next time, okay? Is that good?
Okay, let me just find my list. I've got a list of at least 500 female enlightened women, actually, from the Buddhist tradition,
Wow.
Yeah? Okay.
Oh, just in the Buddhist tradition.
No, of course, then there's many, many others from other spiritual traditions, but I was talking with my teacher, Lama Gangchen, and I said, actually we need to write down the stories of all these amazing women, and recognize them and also be thankful, So it was like, yes, good idea. So actually, that's why, by the way, Lilia's asking, if we can anybody listening, if you want to make a donation. Finally, what we'll do is we'll publish this book about, there is no book about all, I mean, there's different books of different periods of Buddhism, but there's not one from the whole thing from the beginning to the end, you know. So we thought it might be nice if anybody would like to support that project, yeah? Okay, so hang on, I'm still looking for my list. 1 second, yeah, okay. Hang on, 1 second here.
So while Lama Caroline's looking, we're going to, the intention is to publish a book about all the stories, at the end of this series. And so if you'd like to make a donation and contribute to that project, I'll post the website, to make a donation at the end.
Okay, so, I'll tell you, it's too many women to talk about. I'll tell you a few from the early period, yeah, okay, yeah? Some famous female saints from the early Buddhist period, yeah, okay? Okay, so, for example, I said Kyema, she was the most wise of all the female disciples, yeah? She was a brilliant philosopher, okay? Yeah? Then there was the famous Kisa Gotami. She has a very famous story. She's the one, her baby had died, yeah, okay? And then she went to the Buddha, yeah? And she said, can you bring my baby back to life? And the Buddha said, sure, yeah, of course. Just bring me a grain of rice from a house where nobody has died, yeah? So then she went around to everybody saying, knocking on the door, has anybody died here? They said, yes, of course, yeah. Next house, yes, of course, somebody died here. And she went to every house and she can't find any house where nobody had died. Then finally she go back to the Buddha. She said, okay, I got the point, yeah, okay. But then she entered the Buddhist order, yeah, and she became an arhat, yeah, okay, great enlightened female teacher, yeah. That's the bit of the story they don't usually tell you, you know, okay. That story, that one I was saying, who said before I was like a man, a woman, a child, a grandmother, yeah. Now I've met the Buddha and my rebirth is finished. That's her song, you know, okay.
I see.
She's very famous, yeah. Then there's the Arhat Sona. So she had like 10 kids, yeah? And then she decided to go and meditate with the Buddha and become an Arhat, yeah? And she said, this is a lot better, yeah? She said, I love all my children, but this is a lot better, yeah? Okay. Yeah, okay. Then, okay, there's many, yeah, okay.
Well, maybe we have time for one more that you could share, Lama Caroline, because I know we're going to complete soon.
There's lots. I'm, like I say, I'm preparing this book, yeah, that my teacher asked me to make, yeah, okay. Let's see. Okay, I'll just tell you a few, yeah. There was Anopana. She was the daughter of a banker, yeah, okay, so she was rich, yeah, okay. Yeah, so she remained as a layperson and she became an arhat, you know, yeah. There was, many interesting women, no, okay. There was some very poor ladies entered the Sangha. They weren't all like princesses and stuff like that, yeah, because Buddhism's for everybody, you know, okay. One thing that the Buddha always used to do nice is, always used to put the poor people before the rich, when they got ordained, to make social equality, which was very radical in ancient India, even to
with
this
the caste
day.
System.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, basically all the women of the Sakya royal court, all the ones who were around Siddhartha, they all entered the Sangha. Many of them become arhats, okay? So, there was one nun called Uttari who lived to be 120, yeah, okay? There was one called Bada Kundaleksha. Actually, she killed her lover, yeah, okay? Her boyfriend, she killed him, yeah, okay? Before she entered the Buddhist Sangha, yeah? We're not into this kind of thing, but then she repented, okay?
Right.
Yeah?
Opposite.
And she, doesn't, and then she purified her mind and become an arhat, yeah, okay? There's all kinds of different people, all kinds of women with fascinating experiences, okay?
That's an interesting story because it shows how one can, even from a place of violence, can redeem themselves and evolve, right? Purify their karma.
I mean, a lot of the early women, obviously they were talking about their experience as women at that time, and what were you at that? I mean, you couldn't be like a graphic designer or a film director or an IT specialist like you can now, no? So they were basically like wives, mothers, lovers, okay, maybe this, I don't know, some kind of job they could do, but not too much, you know. So they're talking about the female experience, like, so this Amrapali, she was the most beautiful, like, celebrity woman in Vaishali, in the kingdom where, you know, where one kingdom next to where the Buddha lived, yeah? And she was the lover of the king. She was like, you know, she was like celebrity, okay? So later on in her life, she was talking about this thing of like losing her beauty, you know, and how profoundly upsetting that was. But she said, now I met the Buddha, it's okay, you know? You know, she stopped being so, because this is a huge suffering for men and for women, yeah? But imagine in a society where basically that's all you've got, you know? I mean, now women can do anything, no? You can be a pilot, you can
have a career.
Any career, no, basically, yeah? But in ancient times, you couldn't, so, you know, losing your beauty was a terrible thing, right, yeah? So
well, aging can be a terrible thing. Getting old for anyone can be a terrible thing, right?
So anyway, so she says that, okay, before I was upset with aging, but now aging's upset with me because because I'm not bothered about it anymore, yeah?
That's awesome.
No, it's, yeah? I mean, all kinds of interesting people, yeah? I mean, you know, okay? There's so many
Beautiful.
of them, yeah? Okay? I mean, there was like, I mean, later on, you know, also there were many famous female Buddhist missionaries, you know? Okay, not in the Christian sense, you know, but ladies who spread the Dharma, yeah? So Buddhism spread throughout India, not just by male monks, also by like women spreading the Dharma, yeah? So for example, Buddhism got to Sri Lanka thanks to the daughter of King Ashoka, yeah? The one princess, and she became a Buddhist. Oh, she actually wasn't a nun, yeah? She was a lay person. So what she did is she okay, not, maybe her hair wasn't like mine, yeah? Maybe, but she put the Buddhist relics here. She did like this. And she hid the relics of the Buddha in her hair, and then she went by ship to Sri Lanka, yeah? And she was the one who introduced Buddhism to Sri Lanka, which is now a profoundly Buddhist country, you know? Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? I mean, there's all kinds of fascinating stories, you know?
Very interesting. Yeah.
Also in Nepal, you know, actually the first Buddhist missionaries were women, actually, yeah? There's a lady called Charamati, yeah, who she brought the Buddhist relics to Kathmandu, yeah? Okay?
Oh.
The relics means when the Buddha died, yeah, okay? His body was cremated, yeah, okay? And so then, okay, the Buddha's ashes were divided amongst 10 kings, yeah? Actually, he was friends with all these 10 kings, yeah? And in the Bronze Age, they made these funerary monuments, which later became called stupas, yeah, okay? Where a great king or a saint would be buried, yeah? So some hundreds of years later, there was one king called Ashoka, yeah, who was actually a warlord, and then he felt regret and he converted to Buddhism, yeah, and he opened these 9 of these 10 stupas, one he didn't open, yeah, and then he took these ashes of the Buddha and he spread all around the world in all the places where Buddhism was developing, like Thailand, Sri Lanka, you know, Burma, Indonesia, many different places. Yeah?
China.
Okay? China, yeah. 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 So anyway, so relic we mean that by the ashes of the Buddha. Okay.
And in Nepal and Sri Lanka, it was the daughters of Ashoka who brought these to these countries.
Actually, the stupa built by the daughter of Ashoka is in Kathmandu. It's actually near Bodhanath. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we went many times to visit this place, and also my teacher Lama Gangchen, he helped to restore that stupa. You know, it felt very important. You know.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, fascinating stories, fascinating. So, do we have time to continue? I know because we started a little bit later. I just want to be conscious of the time.
It's okay. Yes, sure.
Okay. All right. Good.
Maybe anybody in the audience want to ask a question? Yeah. About, I don't know, like early female Buddhists or anything like that, yeah? No? Yeah, please tell me here. I'll repeat the question. You tell me, then I repeat it so our friends can hear, yeah?
So there is a question in the chat.
Yeah.
A lady is asking if you, as a Dharma, as a Lama, you notice some kind of difference towards you as a spiritual master from us, the Occidental people.
What do you mean?
I don't know what the lady means. I don't know. I think that you, as a lady, as a woman, if you felt some kind of different, I mean, if we trust I don't know, the same. I don't know. This lady is asking this.
I'm not quite sure exactly what our friend means, but look, in Buddhism, okay, the idea is that, okay, we have to put the others first, always see, like, Buddhism's a democratic tradition and we want the best for everybody, okay? My teacher used to say it's like the fingers on one hand, where it's all the same hand but all different, yeah? But each one you need to appreciate and try and help each one according to their capacity, their potential, I mean, like, for example, why we always wear the same colour was we try and not put emphasis on ourselves, yeah? It's not because we particularly like this colour, by the way, or always dress the same, because the idea is it's like not about me, not about any teacher, it's about the others is why we do this, okay? So you shouldn't really, I mean, we have this whole thing called mind training where you try and put the others first, okay? And the more you can do that, the more successful you will be as a teacher of meditation or of kindness, yeah? I mean, look, you see this, for example. This is respect to our lineage. We have a lot of this throne, no? This is why, because the Buddhism started in a royal court, okay? Yes, with the Sakya royal family, yeah? And since then we had many spiritual ancestors. So this is actually recognizing our spiritual lineage, that we have something true and authentic that goes back to the Buddha's time, yeah? Like a real living wisdom tradition, yeah? But for example, I don't have this in my house. I get off and sit on the sofa like everybody else. Like, for example, one time I was in Sri Lanka, yeah? With my teacher, we were in Kandy in the Buddhist tooth temple, yeah? And then they have this whole procession, with the Buddha relics, and then one monk, humble monk, gets there and then sits on the throne and gives a teaching of the Buddhist tradition, yeah? And then gets off and just walks away. That's how it's not about you, yeah? Yeah? I mean, if it is, you're doing something wrong,
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, but basically, yeah.
All about giving and being of service to others.
I mean, we do Mahayana Buddhism. That means we want everybody to evolve, everybody to go together in a positive direction. It's about seeing things and today we're talking about early Buddhism, yeah? But the Mahayana idea is all of us go together. Okay, some people's takes more time, more difficult, but anyway, try not to leave anybody behind if possible, yeah? Okay? All together, It's about we, not me. If it's about me, you're not doing it right, yeah? If we're doing about we, it's okay. Then it's good, yeah? So I don't know if that answers our friend's question or not, yeah?
Yes. And that question could be also, it wasn't so clear what the meaning is, but it could be that are people relating to you differently as a woman than they would, say, a male lama.
Well,
but you just answered that so beautifully, because you said it's the motivation. It's all about serving others. It's not about my gender, right?
I do get a lot of, what I like is, for example, I get a lot of like little girls and things, and they're happy to see me, and I think that's good, because when I was young, I didn't have like that kind of role model, So obviously that's nice, that you see like lots of young girls and they say, okay, I could be an astronaut, I could be, I don't know, whatever, and I can also be a spiritual teacher if I want, So I think it's nice to give that role model, to like young girls.
It's very empowering to see you as, yes, in your role. Yeah.
To young girls or old girls, whatever.
Old girls like me. Yeah, we need both. Yeah. But, I think also that for all of us, we're always projecting our own little fantasies or our own image that we have of a man or a woman onto our teacher. So that's our own thing to observe as well.
Well, yeah, but the mind's always projecting. We need to take back our projections, don't we, Also, excuse me, when we, like a Buddhist teacher, actually it's a kind of transpersonal role, okay? Yeah? We're just here to help other people. It's not, okay, of course, everybody has their own friends and this and that, but it's just to, we're just here to help you be a better you, yeah? So it's not, it's a different role, you know, okay?
So this is really an important point in Buddhism, the whole about the guru and the teacher, and I think that this is a good time to talk about that, in that how, you know, sometimes I think there's this belief that if you have a teacher or a guru, that, you know, it's a thing that's blind faith. You just have to believe in them or have faith in them. But what is so powerful about at least our lineage is, and Lama Gangchen and you, Lama Michelle, and our lineage, the teachers in our lineage is there's this self-reliance and this discernment. You know, there's no, I never witnessed a blind faith. It was always this discernment of checking out the teacher. Do you trust the teacher? Are they following, you know, morality? And then the teachers are showing our inner guru. The outer guru is showing us our inner guru. So there's this self-reliance that comes from this relationship. Can you say a little bit about that?
Well, first thing is, there's many great people in this world who don't have gurus, you know. You don't have to have a guru to be a great person, you know. Many wonderful, kind, humanitarian people who are, you know, really admirable, you know, okay. I mean, this idea of, okay, guru in Sanskrit is like somebody who has like more qualities than you. So, I mean, it's normal, no? If you want to learn to drive, normally you go to a driving instructor. If you want to learn to play the guitar, you need a guitar teacher, yeah? So if you want to do meditation, you need somebody who knows about the mind, right, yeah? It's just normal, actually, you know? But I think, you know, like, my teacher used to say like this, you know, nowadays, you know, with the internet and all this, we have all these kind of like celebrity gurus, you know, and all this kind of stuff. So he said, you shouldn't be so quick to go and get one, you know. So he said, what we normally do is we see somebody with like some super celebrity guru or something, yeah, and then, you know, we over-exaggerate, we totally exaggerate their qualities, you know, it's like a projection, yeah. So he said they start off here, you know, on the crown of our head, then slowly, you know, as we get to know the person, they go down, 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 until they end up on your flip-flops, you know. So he said, that's not the right thing to do. He said, look, this is a relationship between two human beings, and also, by the way, it's not like a guru has to accept you, you know. It should be like getting to know each other, you know. Maybe you're not fitting psychologically. There's many, many different kinds of spiritual teachers, and then you need time to, if you fit together, you know. And then, okay, then slowly can evolve together. Like I say, the idea, we don't have blind faith because this is not possible in Buddhism. We have faith based on experience, yeah? Okay? It's like, how could you have blind faith, you know? Yeah? You know, you have to, anyway, in this Buddhist spiritual tradition, it's based on your personal experience. You know it's true because you experienced it, you know? Like the Buddha said, if you buy gold, no? Especially now because it's really expensive, yeah? You go there, you'd be like, is it true, you know, with a microscope, you know? Like before I give all my money for this tiny little bit of gold, yeah? Okay.
Checking.
Yeah? So he said, we need to do the same with the Dharma, okay? The Dharma means what stops us suffering, yeah? Okay? Need to see if it's valid or not, yeah? Okay? So spiritual teachers, okay, they're the ones who share the Dharma, okay? Okay? So you need to see, okay, do I agree with what they're saying, you know? And do I fit with this person, yeah? And then, okay, actually, like I said before, the role of a spiritual teacher is to empower you, you know, okay? And then you are free and you go and enjoy your life, you know? It's not, you know... we
have less suffering.
We don't want, like, dependent people. We want you to be free and to be happy and to be strong, you know?
Yeah?
So, I mean, it's like that, you know?
And the trust. Yeah. The trust, having that trust.
Yeah, but trust comes through, you know, slowly, you know.
The experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Also knowing people and so on like that, you know.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. Also, I do want to just make that point.
Leila, sorry. My teacher, Lama Gangchen, said, now very complicated the world, but at least we need to trust ourselves, yeah? Because if not, difficult, yeah? You know, like we say, oh, I'm going to give up smoking, and then next week we'll... We have to, if I say I'm not going to do it, I have to do it, you know, I need to trust me, yeah, I'm going to be, whatever I say I will do, I'm going to be kinder, I'll be kinder, you know. Otherwise, so we need to first build trust in our own nature, you know, yeah. Okay, slowly we can learn again to trust the others. I mean, I think our society is traumatized, you know?
Yes.
Because of war, violence, you know, so many bad things have happened, yeah? I think there's like great trauma, so at least we need, start with what we can heal. We can start healing our own minds, and the people around us, our environment, yeah?
Wow, that's a really profound point that you just said. So if you keep your word with yourself, you'll trust yourself more. And the more you keep your word with yourself, the more you'll trust yourself. And then, of course, then we have this capacity to trust others in a greater way.
Yeah, but at least we need to have the confidence that in ourselves. Then, we can somehow we can manage the life if we have our trust in our own nature,
Yeah, very powerful. Very powerful. Well, one thing I wanted to highlight that on our podcast, all the people that we've interviewed, every single person said how much they trusted Lama Gangchen, and many from the very, very beginning. And so for, many people who are listening in, and the fact of this devotion that many of us have, who knew him so closely, that sometimes there isn't that clarity of the trust factor and what you just said, that the teacher is giving us the independence because we're growing with them. But this trust that everyone felt with Lama Gangchen and had that experience was one of the reasons why we had such devotion.
I think, Lama Gangchen, yes, also many other great spiritual leaders and mystics, they have, for example, I was fortunate, I spent many, many decades with him, So it's like what he had was, he could see people. He had an incredible empathy. It doesn't matter, you're rich, you're poor, you did something bad, you're wonderful. He saw everybody he saw something in you, like your purity, your goodness, yeah? And it's like, honestly, nobody sees you like that, So it was, everybody felt that kind of recognition, And that's what mystics have, Not just Lama Gangchen. They see your true nature, yeah? Your human nature, and he had incredible respect and warmth and empathy, yeah? So just that is very healing because, even our own parents don't relate to us like that, So I think that's, but I think also many other mystics, that's what they have, I met many, many, many great beings in my life, yeah? And what the mystics they have is that one, Yeah? Yeah.
And in their presence, you feel that when you're in their presence.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so powerful. So powerful.
Because it's like, Rinpoche, Lama Gangchen used to call it, we have these many missing parts, And one thing is that nobody recognizes, we don't recognize ourselves, our inner purity, our inner goodness, no? But for somebody to recognize that, regardless of what we did, what happened in our life, is very healing, So I think that's one of the things that, make him so attractive, and but like I say, many other male and female teachers and mystics too, they have that,
Yeah, gives us faith in humanity when we're in the presence of people like this, right?
Yeah, it's still there, the Buddha nature, the purity of the mind is in everybody, but we need to recognize, no?
Yes, very beautiful, very beautiful. Well, I think as we close today, I'm just filled with so much gratitude for all these incredible women who've paved the way for us, and you telling these stories to really presence these incredible beings, and gratitude for the awakened voices, of all the nuns and practitioners from the early days and from all traditions. And the countless women, who are named and unnamed, who kept the flame, of the practice alive through the centuries. And to you, Lama Caroline, keeping the flame alive for all of us, carrying the torch for all of us, being an inspiration for all of us. And, the path of awakening has always belonged to anyone who has the courage to walk it. So I'd like to, remember the women who walked before us. And may we honor all those, who practice today, who are here in the Gompa and looking online, all of us who are practicing now. And may we support the generations yet to come, all the young people. And may the blessings of the early awakened women of the lineage continue to guide us towards wisdom, compassion, and liberation.
Leila, what I'll do is I'll send you I did comparative Buddhist studies and comparative religions, yeah, okay. So I'll send you, there's now many beautiful books about this. I'll send some links of you can buy online or hopefully support your local bookshop, yeah, better, yeah. I'll send some titles, yeah, okay, the ones I know, maybe there's many more. And then if people are interested, they can, get these books. I'm so beautiful, or PDF, ebook, whatever it is, podcast, anyway, there's many medias, but so beautiful, yeah. So many people, they already write these stories. So I'll put some links, yeah?
Okay, you share with me and then we'll share them on our YouTube Life with a Lama Healer channel, okay? And then we'll continue with, the links and books and resources so people can have more resources to read about this.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay,
so wonderful.
Look, whenever we do, this is something very nice, very positive, okay? Always when we do, in Buddhism, whenever we do something positive, at the end we do what we call dedication. That basically means all the positive energy, we give it away, yeah? Okay, there's one famous Buddhist sutra, and it says, how do you keep a drop of water, yeah? Okay, part of a sutra. And how do you keep a drop of water, yeah? So how you keep a drop of water is by putting it in the ocean, yeah? Then it doesn't evaporate. So what we do is all our goodness and positivity, we give away to the collective, to society and in the environment, yeah? So what we do is, okay, we touch our hand to our heart, yeah? This represents we need to heal the 5 elements, yeah? Mother Earth, Mother Water, Mother Wind, Mother Fire, Mother Space. We need to heal our 5 delusions, yeah? And we need to find inner peace, yeah? Okay? Okay, so I'm going to sing something in Sanskrit, which means inner and world peace, yeah? Okay? Okay, so anyway, please, let's wish that the world becomes a better, more peaceful, nicer kind of place, okay? With more light, yeah? Okay? Om Bhishva Shanti Hum. 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 Ni modele sendele. Ni me kunyandele shin. Ni sentatu tele pel. Kuncho sungi jingilo. Kuncho sungi nedruso. Kuncho sungi tashi. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the 3 jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. So thank you very much, Leila, for organizing this. It's a very good idea. Actually, it's necessary, actually, because these stories need to be told, yeah? So from time to time, we'll continue with this. So please continue all your nice job, Leila. Life with Lama Healer, now this. Thank you very much, yeah? And we see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a real honor to be part of this conversation. Yes. And so before we close, Lama, Carmi, if you could put the slide on the screen so people know where they could make a donation at lamahealer.com for our book about this topic, Lama Caroline's book. And then if anyone would like to ask a question, or has a comment about this, you could either do it in the chat on the streaming or go to the email on the screen, loconnor@lamaganchenUSA.org, and I'll share those with questions with Lama Caroline. And then stay tuned for next conversation that we have with Lama Caroline, and we'll dive into some of Lama Gangchen's last former lives as a woman. So,
okay, thank you very much, Leila.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So
Bye.
wonderful to be together. Bye. So it's on the back. The screen is on the.
Okay, where?
I close here.
Yeah, we can just see the conversation. Maybe Carmi, our technical friend. Where's she gone? Huh? Oh, she's upstairs. Yeah.
Okay, so the slide's not on there. Okay, no problem. We'll put it in our Life of the Lama Healer YouTube channel. Okay.
Also, what do we do? Sorry, excuse me. We just press the red button, yeah?
Yeah.